following the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the Soviets re-established relations with the Poles. Under the Sikorski-Maisky Agreement, the Russians agreed to release thousands of Polish prisoners of war and permit them to form an army. General Władysław Anders was tasked with the operation. He evacuated his newly formed army along with tens of thousands of civilians whom he rescued out of the Soviet prison camps to the freedom of British-controlled northern Persia. At a railroad station in Hamadan, the Polish soldiers encountered a young Kurdish boy with a bear cub. The cub's mother had been shot by hunters. The bear was barely alive, tired and hungry, much like the Poles who had survived Soviet gulags and had been marching for hundreds of kilometers. Taken with the cuddly bear pup, the soldiers exchanged him for some Persian coins, a portion of chocolate, a Swiss army knife, and a tin of beef, and nursed it back to health. They fed him milk from an old vodka bottle, and as the bear grew, they fed him fruit, marmalade, and honey. Quickly, the bear became an important member of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. The endeared soldiers named the bear Wojtek, which means happy warrior. As Wojtek grew up among soldiers, he adopted soldierly habits. He learned how to salute and march on his hind legs. He was also taught to watch over trucks by sitting in the driver's cabin and would often accompany his comrades on guard duty. He developed a particular love for playboxing and wrestling. He adored challenging other soldiers to wrestling matches, even fighting 4 opponents at a time. He would hide his claws and enjoy rolling with them on the floor, slamming them and pretending to bite them. However, he would never ever do harm to anybody. He also picked up some less salubrious habits. He learned how to smoke cigarettes, though he usually ate them after a single puff, and he developed a great love for beer. Upon finishing a bottle, he would look through the opening of the bottle, looking to see where his favorite drink was gone. Since the transport of pet animals was strictly forbidden, the Poles improvised and officially drafted Wojtek into the Polish army. He was given the rank of private, a service number, and his very own paybook, though he was only ever paid in food. Wojtek, like his human counterparts, experienced and endured the horrors of war. In May of 1944, he came under shell fire for the very first time. Upon seeing his fellow soldiers carrying crates of ammunition, Wojtek responded to the call of duty and joined in, standing on his hind legs and extending his arms to carry 100-pound crates of artillery shells. Alone, he lifted what normally required 4 men. On the 18th of May, the Poles succeeded where 3 other Allied units had failed. The exhausted soldiers triumphantly raised a Polish flag over the ruins of the monastery. For his courage and willingness to participate in the battle, Wojtek was promoted to the rank of corporal, and with the approval of the Polish High Command, the 22nd Artillery Supply Company's badge was changed to a bear, carrying an artillery shell. The war was won not long after, but Poland was betrayed at the Yalta Conference, and Poland fell on the Soviet side of the Iron Curtain, and was now ruled by a brutal communist regime. Tens of thousands of Polish soldiers, and 1 soldier bear, ended up in exile. The 22nd Company, along with Wojtek, was transported to a settlement camp in Scotland, and in 1947, the troops were demobilized. It was time for the soldiers to say goodbye to their most unlikely of companions. The demobilized soldiers entrusted Wojtek to Edinburgh Zoo, hoping to take him to Poland once it was free. It was not to be, however, and Wojtek spent the rest of his days in a 10-square-meter enclosure, a very long way away from his natural habitat. In a sense, his fate mirrored that of tens of thousands of Polish soldiers, homeless heroes, scattered across the globe, unable to return to their occupied homeland, which was ruled with an iron fist by the communists. Wojtek's years in the zoo made him increasingly isolated and depressed, but the Polish soldiers did not forget their cherished companion. They would come to the zoo, often jumping into the enclosure to wrestle with him, and gifted him with cigarettes and beer. Wojtek also never forgot his comrades in arms. Whenever he heard Polish spoken at the zoo, the old soldier bear would stand on his hind legs and wave a paw as if in salute. Similarly to so many Poles who never saw their beloved homeland again, Wojtek died in 1963, in captivity, far away from his friends, his birthplace, and his natural habitat.
He was truly a Pole, in the sense he had lived amongst them, he was one of them. They couldn't separate the one from the other, and the only tragedy is that we never were able to get him back to Poland.